Story 1. I started working at the burger place right after high school. It wasn't my dream job or anything, but the pay was decent and my manager was pretty cool about working around my college schedule. I'd been there about 8 months when this whole thing happened. It was a Saturday afternoon, right in the middle of lunch rush. The line was stretched almost to the door, and we were pumping out orders as fast as we could. My coworker was on the grill, another was handling fries, and I was at the register taking orders and passing out food. She came in somewhere around 1 o'clock. I remember because I just glanced at the clock, calculating how many more hours until my shift ended. She stood in line like everyone else, didn't seem particularly angry or upset. Just another customer. When she got to the counter, I gave her my usual greeting. Me, hi there, what can I get for you today? Her, I'll have a cheeseburger, medium fries, and a water. Me, sounds good. That'll be $8.47. She paid with her card, didn't say much else. I handed her the receipt and moved on to the next customer. The whole interaction took maybe 30 seconds. Completely normal. About 3 minutes later, I called out her order number. She came up to the counter and grabbed her bag. I was already helping the next person when I heard her voice. Her, excuse me? I turned around. She was standing there with the burger wrapper open, holding it up like evidence at a crime scene. Me, is everything okay? Her, this bun is too round. I blinked. In all my months working there, I'd heard complaints about burgers being cold, or wrong toppings, or missing items. Never about the geometric properties of the bun. Me, I'm sorry, what? Her, the bun. It's too round. Look at it. I looked. It was a burger bun. Round, like burger buns are. Me, that's how our buns come. Ma'am, they're all round. Her, this is unacceptable. Me, would you like me to remake your burger? Her, that won't fix the fundamental problem here. Me, I'm not sure I understand what the problem is. Her, this bun represents everything wrong with society. It's perfectly round. Mass-produced. Corporate. Capitalist. The people in line behind her were starting to pay attention now. My manager noticed the commotion and started heading over. Me, ma'am, it's just a hamburger bun. Her, just a hamburger bun? Just? Do you not see the symbolism here? The oppression baked into every layer. Me, I really don't think the bun is oppressing anyone. Her, of course you'd say that. You're part of the system. You're complicit. My manager arrived beside me. Manager, is there a problem here? Her, yes, there's a problem. This bun is a symbol of capitalist tyranny, and I refuse to accept it. Manager, would you like a refund, ma'am? Her, I don't want a refund. I want justice. Manager, I can give you a refund or remake your order. Those are your options. Her, neither of those addresses the systemic issues here. Manager, ma'am, I need you to either accept a refund or step aside so we can help other customers. That's when her face changed. She got this look like something inside her just snapped. Her, you know what? Fine. She grabbed the burger with both hands, took 2 steps forward, and hurled it directly at my face. I barely had time to react. The burger exploded against my cheek, ketchup and mustard spraying across my uniform. The patty hit my shoulder and slid down. Lettuce and tomato went everywhere. The entire restaurant went silent. Her, that's what I think of your capitalist buns. My manager immediately pulled out his phone. Manager, I'm calling the police. Don't move. Her, I'm not afraid of your corporate police state. Manager, security, we need you up front. Our security guard, who usually just checked receipts at the door, came jogging over. He's this big guy, former military, doesn't take nonsense from anyone. Security, ma'am, you need to leave immediately. Her, I'm making a statement. Security, you're assaulting employees. Leave now or I'm holding you here until police arrive. She looked around, maybe realizing for the first time that everyone was staring at her. Every single customer had their phones out. At least a dozen people were recording. Her. This isn't over. You'll all see. The revolution is coming. She grabbed her purse and ran out the door. Security followed her to make sure she actually left the property. My manager handed me a towel while calling the police anyway. I wiped ketchup off my face, still processing what had just happened. Manager, you okay? Me, I think so. Just confused mostly. Manager, go clean up in the back. Take your time. The police came and took our statements. They got copies of our security footage, which showed the whole thing perfectly. My manager filed assault charges on my behalf. I didn't think much would come of it, honestly, maybe a fine or something. But that security footage made its way online. Someone who'd been recording with their phone posted it to social media, and it exploded. Within 24 hours, millions of people had watched this woman throw a burger at me while screaming about capitalist buns. The internet did what the internet does. Within 2 days, people had identified her. She worked as a social media coordinator for some marketing firm downtown. Past tense on that, though. Her company fired her immediately once they saw the video. She tried posting her own explanation online. Something about making a stand against corporate food culture. It didn't help. The comments were brutal. Last I heard, she was having trouble finding new work because every potential employer could easily find that video. Just search her name, and there it is. Her throwing a hamburger at a teenage cashier because the bun was too round. I got promoted to shift supervisor a month later. My manager said I'd handled the situation with impressive calm. The company also gave me a gift card as an apology, which was nice. I still work there, actually, and every time I hand someone a burger, I think about that day. Sometimes people ask if the buns are too capitalist. I tell them they're just round. Story 2. I fly a lot for work. Sales rep job means I'm on planes at least twice a month, sometimes more. I've seen crying babies, drunk passengers, people clipping their toenails. You name it, I've probably witnessed it at 30,000 feet. But nothing prepared me for the flight from Denver to Boston last month. I was in seat 23B, middle seat unfortunately, on a completely full flight. The guy at the window was already asleep before we even took off, and the woman in the aisle seat was reading a book. Standard flight so far. We reached cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign turned off, and I settled in with my laptop to get some work done. About an hour into the flight, I heard a commotion from a few rows back. A woman's voice, loud and insistent. "Woman, excuse me, move, I need to get through." I glanced back. This woman was literally climbing over the passenger in the aisle seat of row 27, stepping on their lap like they were furniture. The passenger, a teenage kid, looked absolutely stunned. "Teenager, what are you doing?" "Woman, I'm moving to where I belong." She stumbled into the aisle, dragging a large purse with her. A flight attendant appeared almost immediately. "Flight attendant, ma'am, you need to return to your seat." "Woman, no, I don't. I identify as a first-class passenger. I belong up there." The flight attendant blinked, clearly trying to process what she just heard. "Flight attendant, ma'am, your ticket is for economy seating. You need to sit in your assigned seat." "Woman, that's discrimination. I identify as first class. You can't keep me from my true seating identity." People were starting to pay attention now. Laptops closed, books lowered. This was getting interesting. "Flight attendant, your ticket determines your seating assignment. Please return to row 27. "Woman, I refuse. I am spiritually and emotionally a first-class passenger. The energy back there is beneath me." She actually said that. The energy was beneath her. I saw the woman next to me roll her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out. The woman started pushing past the flight attendant, heading toward the front of the plane. Another flight attendant appeared, blocking the aisle to first class. "Second flight attendant, ma'am, you cannot go into first class without a first-class ticket." "Woman, I don't need a ticket. I transcend ticket classes. I am above economy passengers." Guy behind me, Then jump out the window and fly yourself to Boston." A bunch of people laughed. The woman spun around, pointing at the guy. "Woman, how dare you? This is harassment. I'm being persecuted for my identity." First flight attendant: "Ma'am, if you don't return to your seat immediately, we will have to restrain you." "Woman, you can't restrain me. I have rights. I identify as first class, and you will respect that." She tried to push past the second flight attendant. That's when things escalated. The flight attendant grabbed her arm, and the woman started screaming like she was being murdered. She flailed, knocked over someone's drink, and tried to claw her way toward the first-class curtain. A male flight attendant came from the back. Between the three crew members, they managed to get her back into the aisle. She was screaming the whole time about discrimination and her rights and something about cosmic unfairness. Male flight attendant: "Ma'am, we are going to restrain you now for the safety of everyone on this aircraft." "Woman, you can't do this. I'm first class. I'm above you all." They pulled out zip ties. I'd heard about these but never seen them used. The woman tried to fight, but they got her wrists secured behind her back. She was still screaming. "Woman, this is assault. I'll sue all of you. I'll sue this airline. I'm first class." They walked her back to her seat and somehow got her seated with the zip ties on. The people around her looked terrified. A man across the aisle actually requested to move seats, and they accommodated him. For the next 2 hours, she alternated between yelling about her first-class identity and sulking in angry silence. Every time a flight attendant walked by, she'd start up again. "Woman, I demand champagne. First class gets champagne." "Woman, why am I not getting hot towels? First class gets hot towels." "Woman, this is discrimination. Discrimination." The captain made an announcement about an hour before landing. "Captain, folks, we've contacted authorities in Boston. Police will be boarding upon arrival to remove a disruptive passenger. We apologize for the disturbance." When he said that, people actually started clapping. The woman screamed louder. "Woman, you're all against me. You're suppressing my true class identity." We finally landed. The captain asked everyone to remain seated. Police officers boarded, and the woman started her speech again about identifying as first class, about discrimination, about her rights. The officers looked at the flight attendants, then at her, then back at each other with these exhausted expressions. "Officer, ma'am, you're being removed for disrupting a flight. Let's go." "Woman, I'm being removed because I'm first class. This is class warfare." They had to cut the zip ties to get her up, but they immediately replaced them with handcuffs. As they walked her down the aisle, she was still yelling. "Woman, you're all beneath me. I'm first class. I'm first class." The moment she stepped off the plane, the entire economy section erupted in cheers and applause. Someone shouted that economy had never felt so good. Someone else started a slow clap. Even the sleeping guy at my window had woken up and was grinning. The flight attendants thanked us for our patience. The first one looked exhausted. First flight attendant, in 20 years of flying, that was a new one. I caught my connecting flight, told the story to at least 5 people that day, and it's become my go-to airplane story. I still fly economy, and you know what? The energy is just fine. Story 3. I bought my first house 2 years ago in what seemed like a quiet suburban neighborhood. The homeowners association had pretty standard rules about lawn maintenance and exterior paint colors, nothing too crazy. I work from home as a graphic designer, so I spend most of my day in my living room with my laptop. That's where I have my ceiling fan, which becomes important later. The trouble started on a Tuesday morning when I found a violation notice taped to my front door. I figured maybe my grass was too long or something, but when I read it, I had to read it 3 times because I couldn't believe what it said. The notice claimed I was creating excessive wind turbulence visible from the street, and that my ceiling fan violated the community's atmospheric stability standards. There was a fine attached for $200. I called the HOA president, this woman who lived 3 houses down from me. I'd only met her once at a community barbecue. Me, hi, I got this violation notice about my ceiling fan. I think there might be some mistake. Her, no mistake. I can see that fan spinning through your window every single day. It's disruptive to the neighborhood aesthetic. Me, but it's inside my house. It's just a ceiling fan. Her, the wind patterns it creates are visible through your window. Other residents have complained about the turbulence. Me, what turbulence? It's behind glass, inside my house. Her, the visual turbulence. People can see the blades moving, which creates an unsettling effect. The HOA bylaws clearly state that residents must maintain peaceful and harmonious living conditions. Me, can you show me where it says anything about ceiling fans? Her, it's under the General Disturbance Clause. Pay the fine by Friday or it doubles. She hung up on me. I immediately started asking my neighbors if anyone had actually complained about my ceiling fan. My next-door neighbor looked confused and said he'd never even noticed it. The family across the street said they'd gotten a similar notice about their bathroom exhaust fan. Over the next week, this woman issued 17 more violation notices to different houses. Someone got fined for a box fan in their bedroom window. Another neighbor got cited for unauthorized air circulation because of an attic vent. She even tried to fine someone for opening their windows on a breezy day, claiming they were amplifying natural wind currents. My neighbor across the street created a group chat with everyone who'd gotten these insane notices. We decided to show up at the next HOA meeting together. About 20 of us packed into the community center on a Thursday evening. When the meeting started, she opened by proposing a new rule that would require all residents to submit air flow impact statements before using any fans or opening windows during daylight hours. Me, this is absolutely ridiculous. You can't control what appliances we use inside our own homes. Her, I can when those appliances create visible disturbances that affect property values and community standards. My neighbor, how does my ceiling fan affect property values? It's been there since I moved in 5 years ago. Her, because potential buyers will see the chaos and disorder. Wind turbulence, even visual turbulence, signals a lack of control and discipline in the neighborhood. Another neighbor, have you actually measured any wind? Because these fans are behind closed windows. They're not affecting anything outside. Her, I don't need to measure it. I can see it with my own eyes. The spinning blades are an eyesore and a distraction. That's when my neighbor pulled out his phone and started recording. Several other people did the same. Me, I'm calling for a vote to remove you as HOA president. You're abusing your position and inventing violations that don't exist. Her, you can't do that. I'm the president. Other neighbor, actually, according to the bylaws, any resident can call for a leadership vote with a second from another resident. Me, I second that motion. She turned red and started shouting about disrespect and insubordination. Someone else pointed out that she'd collected over $3,000 in these fake fines over the past month. Another neighbor mentioned she'd been depositing the money into her personal account instead of the HOA fund. The vote happened right there. Out of 23 residents present, 21 voted to remove her immediately. Only she and her husband voted to keep her in the position. But it got better. Once people started posting the videos online, a local news station picked up the story. They did a segment called HOA Horror Stories featuring her wind turbulence violations. The coverage was so bad that within 2 weeks, the entire neighborhood voted to dissolve the HOA completely. She tried to keep the $3,000 she'd collected, but several residents threatened legal action. She ended up returning every penny. She and her husband moved out 3 months later. Now I run my ceiling fan whenever I want, and sometimes I open my windows just because I can. The neighborhood is actually much friendlier without the HOA. We still maintain our properties, but nobody's measuring wind turbulence or fining each other for using household appliances. Story 4. I manage a small skincare company. We make natural lotions, face creams, that kind of thing. Started it 5 years ago in my garage, after I couldn't find products that didn't irritate my sensitive skin. Now we have a small storefront and do most of our business online. It's been going well. Our reviews are solid, customers are happy, and we've built a loyal following. Then last month, I got an email that made me question reality. The subject line was in all caps, "Your product ruined my marriage." I opened it, thinking maybe someone had an allergic reaction we needed to address seriously. That's not something to mess around with. But what I read was something else entirely. The email was 6 paragraphs long. This woman, let's call her what she called herself in her third email, Karen, had purchased our lavender body lotion 3 months ago. She explained in intense detail how she'd been using it every night, how the scent was lovely, how her skin felt soft. So far, so good. Then it took a turn. She wrote that ever since she started using our lotion, her husband had become emotionally distant. He used to compliment her glowing skin every morning. He used to tell her she looked radiant. But now, nothing. Radio silence. Just a quick kiss before work and normal conversation at dinner. She blamed our lotion. According to her, our product had somehow changed her natural pheromones or skin chemistry in a way that made her husband less attracted to her. She demanded we compensate her for the emotional distress this had caused. She wanted a full refund, 3 months of free products to correct the damage, and a written apology for the psychological harm we'd inflicted on her marriage. I read it twice to make sure I wasn't missing something. Then I showed it to my business partner. Partner, is she serious? Me, I think so. Partner, her husband stopped complimenting her and she thinks it's the lotion. Me, apparently. I wrote back a polite response. I explained that our lotion contains standard, safe ingredients that don't affect pheromones or attraction. I offered a refund if she wasn't satisfied with the product itself, but I couldn't take responsibility for her husband's compliment frequency. That's when things exploded. She responded within an hour. This email was even longer. She accused me of dismissing her concerns, of not taking women's emotional needs seriously, of running a scam business that destroys relationships. She said she'd been tracking her husband's behavior scientifically. Before the lotion, he complimented her an average of 4 times per week. After the lotion, it dropped to once per week. She actually made a chart. She attached it to the email. A spreadsheet with dates, compliment frequency, and her hypothesis about causation. Me, this is insane. Partner, should we just refund her and be done with it? Me, I'm going to try one more time. I sent another email, more firm this time. I explained that correlation doesn't equal causation, that marriage dynamics are complex, and that our lotion is just lotion. I offered the refund again, but stated clearly that we couldn't provide compensation for her marital issues. She lost it. The next email accused me of being anti-marriage, anti-woman, and anti-science. She said she was consulting with a lawyer about a lawsuit for emotional neglect by proxy. I didn't even know what that meant. She claimed that by selling a product that interfered with spousal bonding, we were liable for damages. Then came the Yelp review. It was 1 star. The essay was titled, "This lotion destroyed my marriage, and the owner doesn't care." She wrote 12 paragraphs. She detailed her entire story, included the compliment frequency data, and accused us of selling snake oil that ruins relationships. She claimed the lavender scent was scientifically proven to decrease male attraction, which is completely false. She said I had personally mocked her concerns and refused to help a woman in crisis. Review: my husband used to look at me like I was the sun. Now he barely notices me. All because of this lotion. The owner told me my feelings don't matter and that marriage problems are my fault. Avoid this company. They don't care about destroying families. Our phone started ringing. Other customers had seen the review and were confused. Some were concerned. One regular customer called to ask if we'd changed our formula. Regular customer, that review is wild. Is any of that true? Me, no. She's blaming our lotion for her husband not complimenting her enough. Regular customer. Oh, so she's just crazy. I wouldn't say it like that, but yeah. The review started getting comments. Most people were defending us, calling out how ridiculous the complaint was. But she responded to every single comment, arguing with strangers on the internet about her husband's behavior patterns and our product's chemical interference with love. Comment: This is the dumbest thing I've ever read. Her response: spoken like someone who's never experienced true intimacy. My husband and I have a deep connection that you wouldn't understand. This lotion disrupted our bond. My partner wanted to respond to the review, but I decided against it. Sometimes you can't argue with that level of delusion. Then yesterday, we got another email. She'd consulted with 3 lawyers. All 3 apparently declined to take her case. She was furious that the legal system was rigged against women suffering from cosmetic-induced emotional abandonment. She demanded we send her a different product line for free, one that would restore her natural appeal. If we didn't comply, she'd report us to the Better Business Bureau and the Federal Trade Commission for false advertising and emotional damages. I didn't respond. This morning, she left another review. 2 stars this time. New review, update. After stopping the lotion for 2 weeks, my husband complimented my hair. Proof that this product was the problem. I'm generous with 2 stars because at least I figured it out. Company still refuses accountability. My partner and I just stared at the screen. Partner: her husband complimented her hair, and she thinks that proves the lotion theory. I've stopped trying to understand. The review is still up. We're not responding. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let people expose their own ridiculousness and move on. But I did frame her spreadsheet. It's hanging in our office now as a reminder that you can't reason with everyone, and sometimes skincare is just skincare. Story 5. I've been a paramedic for 7 years now. In that time, I've seen a lot of things that test my faith in humanity. But nothing quite prepared me for what happened on a random Thursday afternoon last month. We got the call around 2 in the afternoon. Cardiac arrest. Male in his 60s, not breathing. My partner was driving, and I was in back preparing our equipment. The address was in one of those older suburban neighborhoods with narrow streets and cars parked everywhere. When we're responding to a cardiac arrest, every single second matters. Brain damage starts after about 4 minutes without oxygen. We had maybe 10 minutes to get there, get him stabilized, and get him to the hospital if he was going to have any chance. My partner was navigating through the neighborhood streets, sirens blaring, lights flashing. Most people pulled over like they're supposed to. Some didn't notice us until the last second, but moved when they realized. Standard stuff. Then we turned onto the patient street. There was a car parked halfway out of a driveway, blocking almost the entire road. My partner slowed down, hitting the air horn. Usually that gets people moving immediately. The car didn't budge. My partner: come on, move. He hit the air horn again. Longer this time. Still nothing. Then we saw her. She was standing on her front porch, arms crossed, staring directly at us. My partner rolled down his window. My partner: ma'am, we need you to move your vehicle. Medical emergency. Her: I'm not moving anything. My partner: ma'am, someone is dying. Move your car now. Her: I don't care. This is my driveway. I climbed up to the front to see what was happening. The street was too narrow to get around her car. There were vehicles parked on both sides, and her car was sticking out at an angle that blocked everything. Ma'am, we have a cardiac arrest 2 houses down. Please move your car. Her: I pay property taxes on this house. You can't tell me what to do with my own driveway. My partner: we will move it for you if you don't move it right now. Her: you touch my car and I'll sue you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I grabbed the radio. Dispatch, we're blocked by a vehicle on scene. Requesting police backup immediately. Dispatcher: copy that. Police are en route. Ida 3 minutes. 3 minutes. This man had already been down for at least 5 minutes before the call even came in. We didn't have 3 minutes to waste. My partner, we're going to have to go around. He started backing up to find another route. The woman actually smiled, like she'd won something. We had to go back 2 streets, loop around, and come in from the other direction. It added nearly 4 minutes to our response time. 4 minutes that could mean the difference between life and death. When we finally got to the house, the man's wife was doing CPR on the living room floor. She was sobbing, exhausted, trying to keep her husband alive. We took over immediately. Started advanced life support, got him on the monitor, pushed medications. His heart rhythm was shockable, which was actually good news. We got him back after the second shock. We've got a pulse, let's move. We loaded him onto the stretcher and rushed him out to the ambulance. And that's when we saw what had happened. A fire engine had arrived as backup. When they'd encountered the same car blocking the road, they'd made a different choice than we had. They pushed it out of the way with their truck. Her car was absolutely demolished. The front bumper was completely caved in. The hood was crumpled. One headlight was dangling by wires. It had been shoved sideways into her lawn, leaving deep gouges in the grass. And she was screaming. Look what you did to my car. Fire captain, ma'am, step back. You destroyed my property. Fire captain, you were blocking emergency vehicles during a life-threatening emergency. Step back now. I'm calling my lawyer. Fire captain, call whoever you want. You're also getting a citation for obstruction. The police had arrived by then. One officer was taking photos of the scene while another was trying to talk to her, but she was too busy screaming about her car to listen. We didn't have time to watch the drama unfold. We had a patient to transport. My partner got us moving, and I worked on the patient in back, monitoring his rhythm, adjusting medications. He survived, by the way. Spent a week in the hospital, got a pacemaker, and went home. 4 minutes later, and the outcome might have been very different. The woman tried to sue the fire department for the damage to her car. Her lawyer dropped the case immediately once he saw the full picture. Turns out, emergency vehicles are legally permitted to move obstacles during emergency responses. Who knew? She got cited for obstruction of emergency services, which carried a hefty fine. The city also sent her a bill for the emergency response costs, since her interference had required additional units and extended response time. But the best part, someone in the neighborhood had doorbell camera footage of the whole thing. Her standing on her porch screaming about property taxes while we're trying to save someone's life. It made the local news. Her neighbor started a petition to have her removed from the Homeowners Association board. It passed unanimously. The patient and his wife sent us a thank you card a few weeks later. He wrote that he was grateful to be alive and sorry we'd had to deal with that situation. His wife added a note saying the neighbor had actually tried to complain to them about the damage to her car, like they were somehow responsible. They stopped talking to her after that. I still drive past that street sometimes on calls. The car's been fixed, but there are still marks on the lawn where the fire truck pushed it. Every time I see those marks, I think about how close we came to losing that patient. All because someone thought property taxes gave them the right to let someone die.